I did this right. See if anybody shows up. Seth is not going to be here with us today. I can already imagine more people tuning out just because of that. No, Seth is doing the family thing. I'm happy he is doing that. I hope he's having a great day, and we'll get him back soon. Welcome, and please let me know. Give me a thumbs up and let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. And also if you're okay with the screen setup the way I kind of have it. If you'd like the chart bigger, we can do that. Kind of want validation that you can hear me before I start replying to comments, but I see you, Jeff. What's up? I can't tell. It's so quiet. Can you hear me? Anyone? Thumbs up. Actually, I don't know if I'll see that anyway. Yes. Awesome. Thank you. So you can hear me okay? Needs to be more patriotic. What's up, math guy? I found that background. All right, good. Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. I found that background. It was because I decided to go live on July 4th. And look, this is all a transition for me, still horrible at technology. And I admit part of my reasoning for not being better with technology is I have not taken a lot of time and just tried to focus on learning that. Because what I always fall into is I'm thinking, all right, what's the best use of my time? The best use of my time is almost always research, trying to become a better investor. And so that's by default where most of my time goes, is studying, researching, digging. And so I haven't really dedicated a lot of time. I also realized I missed a huge, there's a big learning curve for me, and it's way beyond what most people have. And that's okay. I understand that I'm going to be moving at a snail's pace with regard to technology and catching up. But it's been helpful to have people like Seth who have kind of helped me, show me a little of this or that or whatever. So anyway, on Monday, when I realized that I could use that as a background, the American flag, I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to do that. And I really like the way it looks. So I'm going to keep it at least for now. There is, what a week indeed. Jeff, you said it. It has been a wild one. Welcome, Jades, Emiliano, what's up? Edward, happy to see everybody. Holy cow. What a wild week. I know there's so much to get into. I'm going to say this first because we're early in the stream. We've got a little bit, under an hour left to close the week out. I'm really curious if the market overall is going to end up on a positive note heading into the weekend. I don't know. But Babish, what's up? Math guy says, yeah, you got to sell the American NIO fanboy. I saw, and I was laughing. I was really laughing when I saw, because I've seen a little of what's going on. There's been some drama on Twitter, for those who don't know. And I saw Jeff. I kind of saw what was going on. I didn't see everything, of course, but I saw some of the things and I was like, oh boy, this is tricky. But I wanted to, in my way, kind of address things. And I was also curious, what the content in the video that Tom Nash had put out. And so we'll talk about that, I'm sure, on the stream today before we're done. Support group. Yes, you know it. That's what's funny is I initially started doing these live streams back when NIO was just getting pummeled week after week. And I was kind of like, all right, we're going to do the NIO stock support group. But now it's really turned into this sort of just kind of fun, chill, laid back time to end out the trade week. And I think especially when Seth's here, he brings such a great dynamic. We are able to just interact and kind of be ourselves and just joke around. And we still want to talk investing in business and stuff like that. But it's just a nice way to kind of wind down the week. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. So it's been enjoyable to do it. Again, it sort of started as something and now it's transitioning a little bit. But Jeff, I'll get to that comment, the Un-American. We'll talk about that. Don't worry. Hola, what's up? Joshua, welcome. Jacob says, yeah, it is showtime. Let's go. Let's see what happens. Looks like a NIO AA meeting. Yeah, Asian Fish. Oh, Asian Fish, got your email. I responded. Did you see my response? There was a lot, and I spent a couple of hours actually digging into that stuff. Once I get started, I just want to keep going. It's like a trail of breadcrumbs, and I want to find out where William Lee's got the bakery and what he's got cooking back there. Dynamic duo. Yeah, I wish Seth could be here, but shout out Seth if you get a chance to watch this later on. Tesla delivered 86,000 vehicles. Cheetah, yes. Woo-wee. And how about BYD? 134,000. Stop it. Here's what's crazy is I believe in China, I think the Chinese market alone had over 500,000 vehicles delivered in June. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Holy cow, that is, and it's a validation point. That's the direction they're going. And whenever they get there, there's a whole lot more market to go that direction in China. And that's one of the reasons I picked NIO is there is a huge market there. And so, the fun fact is I don't need NIO to come to the US and dominate. I just need them to dominate in their home country. And I think they're going to in the premium space. That's pretty much it. Like anything additional is a bonus. And so that's cool. That's awesome stuff. Somebody said I have a whole new appreciation for Twitter. Oh, Jeff, that's funny. Asian Fish. Yeah, Asian Fish. I do. Asian Fish. Whew, there's a lot. I'm not going to share it yet. Maybe next week. Maybe, I don't know, if we dig a little more and get a little further with it. To maybe a preview of what NIO is doing behind the scenes for the US. Oleg, yeah, I know we're going to be, actually, you know what? Okay, I'm going to address this now because I have an opinion that I've kind of been formulating today. I'm going to back up because I saw that there was some drama. Some people on Twitter were going back and forth, and it involved Tom Nash. I've talked about Tom Nash. In fact, what's funny is on Sunday, I did a video and I joked about how one of the things that tells me I'm early is when folks like Tom Nash and Chicken Genius Singapore, earlier on, I had seen their videos where they said why they didn't want to invest in NIO. And for me, I just file that stuff away and I say, okay, cool. I think I'm early. I think if NIO becomes the brand and the company that I believe they're going to, I think later, people who didn't like it earlier will come and say, okay, yeah, I do. I like this NIO train. I want to get on now. But I realized that it may take more time. And so for me, I don't mind when other folks have their opinion and they don't want to invest in NIO. I just kind of say, all right, I'm going to check back on them later and see if they come around. And Tom, I don't know Tom. I didn't know who he was. I was fresh out of prison, kind of starting with my videos, and I don't know if I really have a clue what I'm doing yet, but at that time I certainly didn't. And so I just remember that he had stopped in on one of my videos, left some comments, and there was no, I mean, it was like almost like an attaboy. Like I didn't think it was, I didn't take it any kind of way. And so that was my sort of introduction to him. And then I watched his channel get really big and I was like, wow, okay. And I've watched some of his videos and some of his content. I really like some of it. It's not for me. And that's okay. It's important that, especially in this day and age where things have become so polarizing and it's such a divided, especially the US that I came back to, it's so divided. And I was just kind of like, wow, this is crazy how some people get. And unfortunately, Twitter can get a little wild, a little crazy like that. And I've seen that. That's one of the reasons I kind of stay low key on there and try and stick to the research, which is really what I want to be on anyway. As an investor, if I want to get better, that's the best way I can do it in my mind. That's the best use of my time. So that's the way I try and look at it. But I saw that there was some back and forth going on between Tom and some of the NIO community. And I know, Jeff, that you were kind of involved in that. And I know you wouldn't mind me saying it, which is why, I'm kind of open about it here. But what's crazy is I think that, and I did, so when I saw that, I thought, okay, how can I not directly address this or insert myself into this, but how can I kind of share my view and be a little different in approaching this, but also kind of have fun with it? Now, I can tell that Tom Nash has a sense of humor. And I can tell that he also feels a certain kind of way. And one of the things he feels a certain kind of way about is the communism thing. And so look, I don't have his experience. I haven't been where he's been and through what he's been through. So I can't speak to that. I do know he feels a certain kind of way about it because I can tell that. And that's fine. But I thought, gosh, let me do a commentary and I'll watch one of his videos. And he had just done one talking about something about Chinese companies. And I thought, all right, this is going to be funny. This is going to be a chance for me to kind of have fun, watch the video. I'll give a real time, my response to his video. And I think if Tom sees this, he's going to laugh. He's going to get a kick out of this. And that's kind of what I wanted was, even if we don't agree, there's no reason to be nasty or whatever, and I thought maybe that's a way that I can have a positive, influence on this whole situation. And so I started to do the video and then he dropped some profanity and I was recording it and I was just kind of like, oh, well, all right, now I'm not going to upload this video. And I killed the take. And then I was thinking back and I thought, Aaron, just edit that part out, stop the video abruptly and just upload it. And if nothing else, hopefully Tom will see it and he'll at least know that, hey, it's okay for us if we don't agree on something, we can still have dialogue and it doesn't have to be any kind of way. Well, in the meantime, now let's see. So that was yesterday, early evening for me. And then I kind of powered everything down. I tend to do that every night. I turn off my electronics and just check out. And then I come back in the morning and, we get back to it. So I think he had done a video specifically about NIO after I had done my video, but maybe before he saw my video, because when I woke up this morning, he had left a comment on my video and he was very polite and just kind of like, love this channel, great content. And just kind of, yeah, it's okay for us to disagree about things. And I wonder if maybe when he saw my video, he decided to take that video down because maybe, and that's what I hoped happened was, again, it's kind of like, we don't have to agree. I don't care if he never changes his mind. I'm not in NIO because I want Tom Nash to invest in it or anyone to invest in it. I'm here because I think it's a play and I want to make money. It's that simple for me. But I also understand there's another component, and this is part of me being a research nerd and seeing things that I don't always, offer, but I'm seeing things behind the scenes. I know there's at least one content creator who has talked very negatively and very disparagingly about Tom. And I don't even want to go there because the idea of, and I think on the video he used in the thumbnail, like fraud or something like that. I don't want anything to do with that stuff. I was in federal prison and I know guys who were doing time for fraud and at different levels, different charges, different things, whatever. That's not something I want to weigh in on or have an opinion about. And so I just thought, gosh, it might actually mean something for Tom to see that, hey, we don't have to agree. And I'm going to kind of give you crap and tease you and, poke fun a little bit, but also in a humorous way. Like, hey, if you want to call me a NIO fanboy, I'm going to laugh and go, yes, that's me. I don't have a problem with that. It's all good and fun. And at the end of the day, we're all investing, trying to win, trying to make money. And we get caught up in some of the other stuff. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of distraction. And then, if people take a comment a certain way or, tone on the internet and on social media, whatever, it can easily be mistaken or misunderstood or misinterpreted. And even if something offensive is said, that's just, for me, it's kind of like, all right, do I want to be a part of that? Not really. I want to try to avoid that. I've been judged. I've been judged harshly. I fought for 10 years for my freedom. In the end, it didn't matter. And I had a lot that I lost and that was taken from me and that I still have lost. And that's one of the reasons I'm motivated. That's the way I'm trying to turn that negative into a positive. But I hope that, one of the things that I can offer is kind of a positive, encouraging, supportive attitude for people just in general. I think the world is in need of that. I think the globe and certainly our country, here in the US, we definitely need that. And so I want to hopefully contribute in a small way. And that's what I hoped is that, again, and I told Tom in my response to his comments on the video this morning, I was just kind of like, hey, thanks for stopping by. Stop through the live stream if you want. But I just, again, and I almost tweeted or shared the tweet with him when I did today's live stream, or maybe it was something earlier. But I thought, well, and this is another thing, I'm still learning. I'm not a large channel, but I do know I watched Matt Kors get really big on the AMC thing, and I still check in with him and watch his streams and stuff. But I remember one of his comments earlier this week on the stream is he was kind of like, oh, who should I have on? And he didn't want to have someone who was a smaller channel on. And so I thought, well, gosh, we all started somewhere, and whatever size, that shouldn't necessarily be the determining factor. But what I don't want is for Tom to think that I'm trying to come up off of his clout or whatever. And I think he knows that I'm not, because again, it's kind of like, I don't know. And I see, Jeff, that's cool that Tom Nash blocked you. It's one of those things where people can disagree. They can not get along. And it's like, if you're locked up and you're in prison and there's somebody there and you don't get along, something's going to happen one way or the other. Figure out a way to get along, or, you know what I mean? Like that's when it's a little more, it's at a different level. But again, it's just, I want to be positive, encouraging, supportive, and talk, good stuff. And it's cool. I don't mind. I will laugh if Tom comes on here and starts calling me NIO fanboy. I'm gonna laugh and joke about it. It's all good. But let me jump to comments because I'm way behind. I rambled on for a while. Oleg, many people. Oh yeah. That was the video. I talked about that. Garrett says, happy Friday, Aaron. I've enjoyed your recent vids, checking out other NIO YouTubers. Please review one of your old videos. I need to. And I've been thinking about that. It'd be funny to, I'm going to pull up one of my videos where I was doing videos on the dark, old school, like the original when I was fresh out of prison. That's good stuff. That'll be funny. Agent Fish, I think half of BYDs were PHEVs. Yeah, I think, didn't they in March switch to where they were just doing NEVs? I thought I read that somewhere. I haven't validated it, but I think it was a decent source who said that. And again, like there's a reason I want a BYD to be that partner for NIO on the sub brand, because I thought, wow, the way they can put vehicles out, that would be massive. But even if they just ended up sort of positioning in that Hefei area where NIO has kind of, with the NIO Park, that industrial, that cluster is what they call it there, the Xinxiao NIO Park is I think that was sort of the start of what we're going to see more of in China. And so cool. NIO's early on that. And that's what I want to see. Justice, what's up from the Discord? Welcome. Oh yeah, good one. Oh yeah, I think I told you I cut the video because Tom used profanity, and I was watching it for the first time. And so you probably would laugh if you saw my take, because I was kind of like, because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Tom's going to laugh when he sees me kind of giving him crap and doing this, overtake, because he's probably not going to disagree with me on the points I'm making, because I wasn't even challenging him on some of it. But I was just like, hey, there's another perspective here, and I'm going to share that now. And I thought he would get a kick out of that. But then he dropped the profanity, and I was like, oh, no, I can't. I don't want to air that, I already have the ex-convict label on me. So I actually stopped the recording, wasn't going to upload, and then ended up deciding, you know what, I'll just do the shortened version. People can ask me about it. It'll be, story time for later. And so that's why I cut it short. Ken, can you talk about the dark pool and the shorting taking place there? Oh, wow. It is so hard to track. I believe there are about 25 dark pools, and these are off exchange places where big money can make their moves. The idea with these is originally, if let's say, and I'm just going to throw a bank out there, Goldman Sachs, let's say they want to buy 100 million shares of NIO, let's say, and they don't want everyone to see that they're doing it, and they want to make sure that they can get their price. Maybe they're going to do this over the course of a number of days. And so maybe they're going to buy for several days, or even, maybe even a couple of weeks, where they're going to do this, purchase quietly where it won't disrupt the markets. Plus, the other side of it is if retail sees that they're doing that, some retail, and we've seen it with some of the, like with Kathy Wood and ARK Invest, sometimes, at least they used to, I don't know if they still are, getting followed by retail investors who will follow and buy behind them. But, the intent, I think, was good. That it's like, okay, we don't want to disrupt the market, so we'll let them quietly make these moves. Unfortunately, and this is where things really get tricky, is with naked shorting, shares can be sort of conjured or created out of nothing, because if you figure there are all these brokers and platforms and intermediaries who are, taking orders to buy and sell constantly, well, it's hard to track all that. And so there's kind of a delay on that system. And then you've got the dark pools where there are a lot of big money moves made. So it's even harder to know what exactly is going on. And even if you watch, like, for example, if you have Charles Schwab, it's the Street Smart Edge. I think there's a way you can get in and monitor the dark pool activity, but you still can't see everything. And so you may see a price level where something is done, but you still don't necessarily know where it's going. You have to actually watch and see what happens with the stock. And so the point being, a concept, I'm a big concept guy. The concept for me is, okay, there's a lot of money and big money that can be used that we don't even get to track. And so we have no idea. Let's say Goldman Sachs wants to take a short position to push down NIO so they can buy and enter and lock in their 100 million shares at $20. And again, I'm just using this all fictitiously. This is, by the way, not financial advice ever from me, just entertainment. But the idea is they can kind of get the price that they want, even though they're going long. But what's tricky is if somebody's doing naked shorting, which is illegal and not supposed to happen, but it does happen, then they can take a position and just mess with the stock and not actually do anything. And the only way that we can kind of sort of track that is if we watch the failures to deliver. And those are basically the shares that were sort of just out there. There was never a place, there's never a home found for them, if you will. But that's a delayed report. And it's usually, I think they do it 2 times a month. So you're waiting and you're delayed on even getting that data. Again, there's no way for us to know real time what exactly is going on. But tracking the fail to delivers, and it's kind of a fun little exercise that I've found for some different stocks, because I've been curious looking at different time frames. And things like for NIO, if you look at November, when a very large player, and I did a video and I talked about them, they have a lot of clout in the business and in the industry. They're also a market maker and they have big, big money. And it was November when they took a short position in NIO, and NIO really, really has taken a beating since that time. I'm not saying it's in direct correlation to this. I'm just saying maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's not. But it's interesting for me to kind of track and make sort of little mental notes on this stuff as I'm studying it. And so looking at a stock you're interested in and seeing if it's really been pushed down or pushed around and that sort of thing, looking back over some of the charts. And the SEC and FinTel are 2 different places where you can get these fails to deliver charts if you want to track it. But again, it's not real time. It's a couple weeks delayed. So hopefully that answers some of your question. I probably threw a lot more out there, but it's so fascinating for me. And there's so much more that I haven't learned that I want to learn, but it's really, there are a lot of moving parts. And that's where things get really tricky. I think at one point NIO was being shorted in the US and the Chinese markets. And I think that was going on until one of the execs over in China, or not execs, but one of the big dogs, we'll call them, over in China said, "Hey, shorts, we see what you're doing, get out of here." And what's fascinating for me is for all the rhetoric and the people who say and want to kind of hate on NIO because it's a Chinese-based company, those same people, I don't see them talking a lot about the way that the markets are able to be manipulated here in the US, and that it seems like it goes on much worse here. And so it's like one of those things. I'm always filing away these little mental notes, behavioral patterns, things that I notice, because I'm kind of a nerd like that and I like it. Price prediction for NIO, Satoshi. I still haven't given one. And the main reason is because I want to see what the bear market's going to do. I want to see and feel like we are at a bottoming point. And I think we have an excellent chance for the markets overall to have some kind of a political pump before the end of the year. I don't know when that starts. I don't know if that starts this week. I don't know if that starts closer to November. I do think we'll see some kind of a pump. I don't think the bottom is in. And so I want to wait and see and kind of have more confidence that the bottom might be in for the markets before I go trying to project for NIO, because that's short term, I think the biggest issue is the broader markets. Now we'll see as the delivery numbers go up for NIO month to month, we'll get a front row seat on whether or not that's going to change. And if we start seeing some big moves, then maybe that's an indicator. I still kind of feel like and felt like May was hopefully, knock on wood, the turning point for NIO stock. But we'll see. Again, it's the overall market, I think, is still suspect. I'm so far behind on comments. All right, let me jump in. Oleg says Tesla without Chinese market is not so expensive. And you know what? It's a great point, Oleg. And again, people who kind of dog on China, especially some of the Tesla folks and investors, I don't know why they don't acknowledge China really allowed Tesla to completely dominate. I mean, that was major, game changing. And now what's going to be interesting is watching some of these brands from China take some of that market cap from Tesla. It's going to be interesting. But I think, and some people consider Tesla to be in the premium space, which means maybe NIO will end up competing with them more in the future after, say, NIO gets a sub brand out and gets, the ET5s going. I don't know. I'll be curious to see. I still see them as different companies that both are successful and have a lot of market share globally. I think they both do well. And some others too. Cutie Pie, what's up? Welcome. Good to see you here. I always say it's a Friday stream. It's just a beautiful, beautiful day. What can I say? And Cutie Pie's here. Gamer, what's up? BYD sales numbers, very impressive indeed, man. They are crushing it. They had done over 600,000, I think, on the first half of the year. That's crazy. Now, granted, their margins and they're not all NEVs yet. Yeah, and guess who bought into BYD back in the day? You might have heard of them. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, those guys. It's almost like they know what they're doing or something. From up the road here in Nebraska. Let's go. Shout out Nebraska. No, we're not ready to talk football. We'll wait for Seth on that. Asian Fish says, hello. I love that people know each other too. No more grays in our society, Matt guy. It's, you're right. It's the biggest thing when I came back from prison and I kind of looked around and I was kind of like, wait, it's not as if people are divided. It's almost like they're being encouraged to really hate each other. And I thought, man, that's some trash. If politics has something to do with this, just another reason I hate it. But that's me, and I'm different. I know I am. Jeff says NIO Power Day definitely raised some eyebrows. Yeah, I was frustrated actually. I was kind of bummed. It was the middle of the night for us here, but I don't have access to any platform that would allow me to watch it. And so I still haven't seen what they had to say. I'm hoping that NIO will post something. That's an excuse for me to write them again. I'll email them again and they can ignore me again like they have in the past. It's all good. Got to keep trying, right? Edward says, I saw an article. It said BYD just surpassed Tesla as the world's biggest EV company. Depending on the metrics, it could be. They are delivering vehicles. Crazy numbers. Jess is all good. Asian Fish, 500 kilowatt hours is crazy. We've got, I saw some of the highlights, but I haven't got in there. Cutie Pie. Oh, everybody's got we just got, and this is one of the reasons that I love the community. It's also one of the reasons that I want to try to, I don't mind if somebody wants to hate or be mad or make fun. Like, that's cool, man. I was locked up a few years ago. I get the opportunity to invest in NIO. So, okay, I'm a NIO fanboy. All right, I'll take that. I mean, I'll just laugh about it. It's all good. But it is. I love how the community is very close, very tight knit. Cultish. That's a strong word. I don't know if I want to go there. But Steven, what's up? NIO's the best. NIO, I'm really excited for this brand and this company. And some people really identify and recognize and look at it as a China thing, a communist thing, or whatever. I don't. I look at it from a business lens, and we'll see. Time is the ultimate reveal. It's long-term play. We'll see if I'm right or not. ML name, NIO to the moon. Let's go. Jeff says, show me the money. It's a crazy world. It is a crazy world. I'm telling you, I still feel like a foreigner back here. I'm going, we're supposed to do what now? Media says to do this, and we're supposed to do it because they said. What's up, CHBB? Chib, can I call you Chib? I'll probably forget later, but we're doing it right now. 3,670 shares, and average is 1977. Ooh, you're in the money on your average right now. Congratulations. That's outstanding. And Jeff says, I am a NIO fanboy. We got a lot of NIO fanboys here. It's all good. That NIO trending guy, he's the worst. Chip says, no more funds right now. Wait for next payroll to come in. My long-term goal is 2,000. I still feel like I'm forever away. So I understand. But I will say I'm grateful on the one hand, although it's been a tough ride for a lot of people in the short term with stock price action. I'm grateful to have gotten this extended opportunity to pick up at what I think is a good price. Ted says, I would be offended if I was called a NIO fanboy. NIO nerd is way more cool. Happy Friday. What's up? Appreciate it. NIO nerd. Yeah, you know it. A bunch of nerds and fanboys and stuff. But I'm proud of my fellow nerds. Great person is a more accurate label. Thank you. We're trying. Baby steps to greatness. Edward, I came out as a NIO a year ago. Cutie Pie, thank you. Shishi. Appreciate it. It's cool. And I know, and I saw people jump in and wanting to, rescue and support, in the whole back and forth on the Twitter. And that's why I was kind of like, gosh, I don't want to jump on and be all critical of people, but man, maybe I can offer kind of a different lens, different view, a different perspective. And I just, I want to see more positivity, more encouragement, more support, and even from people who don't agree on stuff. It's okay. That's not a big deal. And I think that's kind of what Tom said in his comments on my video. So, I hope that it was a positive for him. That was what I wanted. I wanted to have fun with it. I wanted to kind of poke fun and laugh. And I think I hope he was laughing. That was my intention. But also to kind of be like, hey, it's all right. We don't have to agree. Like maybe we're both wrong. I hope not. I'm trying to be right. Not because I want to be right, because I want to make money. What is NIO app about? Jacob, NIO app? Yeah, you got it. 400,000. Actually, this is another point of frustration for me. I haven't tried recently, but I can't get the NIO app. It's not here for us yet, I don't think. And so I want to get on there. I want to see what's going on. Let me get some NIO gear straight from NIO. I'm ready. I want to check it out. And fun fact, I'd be using that thing for research. Are you kidding me? If you go in and fill it out like you're buying a vehicle and see what the wait time is, now we got an idea of what the delivery lag time is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe track the numbers a little bit. Okay. There's no insider information if we're just doing our research on our own, right? Having fun, no financial advice ever, no advice of any kind. Well, maybe advice on eating healthy, being positive. Cutie Pie, thank you. I appreciate you. Supportive. I love my people. Steven says 500,000 shares and counting. What? The bottom is in. Or is that on track and volume? You'd be the biggest holder I know. I knew one guy with 6 figures, and I haven't heard from him in a while. I don't know if he's still holding or not. That's a lot. He's buying early though, like $1, $2 too. So one day when I grow up, maybe I'll have big money like that. I'm kidding, because I'm not going to grow up. Smoke and Averdew says, I'm thinking September. Thinking September for the bottom being in, or for the markets, or what? Or maybe the pump? Talk to me. I'll try and catch up on comments in the meantime. Jeff says, just like Tesla, hopefully we'll follow a similar track of price increase. Yeah, I think I will say this, and I've been really conservative and careful not to be too bullish, but I will say this, it's really, really bullish that NIO at such an early point ran the way it did. The stock, just talking about the stock, because now fundamentally the company is positioning, and by next year into 2024, once that profitability comes in and they are making big money, I want to see what the stock price can do then, because if it was able to move like it was, and part of that, I think if you look back again to the fails to deliver and look at what was going on during that time frame where it was kind of a question if NIO was going to make it, and maybe some shorts piled in, and maybe there were a lot of fail to delivers, which just means that there were some lost shares that maybe came out of nowhere and had no home. Anyway, if after that we saw that big move, that's positive, because we know that Tesla was heavily shorted for a long time. And that is one of the reasons that it ran the way it did when it finally went. And I'm kind of, and fun fact, I'm not sure if maybe we're going to see something similar with AMC once it gets going. And that's more because someone with more experience and is a much higher level investor has kind of suggested that, and that's Jim Savoldi, BAM investor. I've been following him. I'm a Global Pro subscriber. Man, I've learned a lot from him. And so I'm really curious. But yeah, concept-wise, the reality that NIO was able to run the way it was at an early stage, and I'm talking stock price, with the company not yet at a fundamental point that it's going to be, yeah, I want to see where we can go when we finally go. Yeah, I'm with you, Cutie Pie. Hopefully he answers here in a minute. I'll get there. Chen Jin, what's up? Do you watch the NIO Power Day replay? No, I didn't find it. And I really wanted to see it. It was like a 2 a.m. thing here. But once I saw that I couldn't actually watch it live, I didn't worry about staying up. Like, I wasn't going to stay up all night for that. But I haven't seen it, and I want to. I know there's data points that I'm missing. I saw some highlights, CNEV posts. I kind of recapped with some of their articles. Jays of JC says, I think NIO's major competitors are BMW, Benz, Audi, and Lexus. Yeah, it's a great point. And I talk about it, but I still, even the analysts and even people who know that they're really not in the same segment as far as what they're competing for in the premium space, even those folks are still doing the Li Auto, Xiaopeng, NIO. And I guess because they were all kind of listed in the same time frame and newer companies and all Chinese, but absolutely not competitors. I don't see them at all as competitors. But again, that's one of the reasons and points I said I think that it's still early. People haven't figured it out yet. Satoshi says NIO will dominate China, just a matter of time, bigger than Alibaba. You know what's crazy is this is flying under the radar. This is a Marcel Munch fun fact that he put out there. And he knows China and the culture and almost a lot of that stuff better than I will and do and have and stuff. He was talking about how NIO Life could be bigger than what Alibaba's got going. And I was like, boy, that is low key. That's a serious long-term play with some upside potential and nobody's talking about. So Marcel, shout out. I'm paying attention, bud. I got you. NIO Power is awesome. Jeff, agreed. And I think it's still so early that people are not even recognizing NIO as a player in the energy space. But that policy support from a couple years ago, man, that made me so bullish and excited because I was like, okay, now NIO has already checked the box. They're made as a company, and the partnerships with Sinopec and then with Shell, it's, boy, let's go. Domenico, can't believe I asked people in England. They still don't know about NIO. That makes me believe we are early. Wish I bought some more when it was 20 yesterday. 20 euros. Is that euros? I don't even know the sign for euros. That's terrible. If Seth were here, I'd make fun of us for being Americans not knowing. As it is, I'll make fun of me for not knowing. I think it's 20 euros. And it's, again, you know what? Here's something we can all do. A little basic research. Random people that you talk to, ask them if they know about NIO. And then come back and next week we'll discuss it. Because if out of 10 people, we get a little bit of an idea if, 20% have heard of it or 40%, whatever. And then ask them if they know what they do. And it's a little basic market research we can do on our own. New app, talk about it. Do they make money off of it? Not directly, but you can order everything through the app. And so, and really, this is where I would want to defer to someone like Mr. P or Crossing China or someone who actually has. There's a couple of channels that I follow. They're in China. I don't even know if they know who I am or that I follow them, but they or that I've subbed to them. because they're in China, they own NIO and they've done videos. And so what I would rather do than me try and talk about it, I can't just share the experience. It's different for somebody who actually can talk about it, or someone in Norway for that matter. Because I want to see what they're talking about, what they can show us. And I know Crossing China, which is Eric, he's back in the States now, but I know he had done somewhere like the options for picking a vehicle and you know, the whatever accessories you want to put in there. It's pretty cool. It's the company. Yeah. Bullish. Leave it at that. Cutie Pie says, I'm a NIO fangirl. You darn right. It just says, I'm no. And NIO fangirls are the best. Yeah. Love it. Smokin says, oh, this is about September. Hopefully the beginning of a real bounce. Excellent point. And I do think for the short term or short-sighted view, which is kind of what we've seen, if we get the initial, and we haven't talked about this, I know there was a news piece, not really, they didn't really say anything new. Bloomberg was talking about the PCAOB and the SEC and whether or not, you know, that they're still talking, they're in talks, whatever. You know, it's not news until we actually hear that they're going over there. What I'm watching for is in the background, I'm watching things like making sure they're not shutting down areas. It doesn't look like they're doing that now. It looks like they're sort of making little subtle adjustments, but that actually make a difference so businesses can stay open. People can still move around in China, but also for people coming in country, you know, if you're working for the PCAOB and you do have to go over and do on-site inspections, it doesn't make a lot of sense to sit in the hotel when you first arrive for a week or however long. But right now, I think it's 7 days, 4+3, or maybe more on the quarantine time. So that's not very viable. Like logistically speaking, that doesn't make sense. So I'm watching for things like that to hopefully loosen. I'm trying to just kind of keep an eye on it, but it's sort of no news at this point. Hoping we'll hear something soon, but I just, I know some of it is it's clickbait and it's a chance to do a video, and maybe I'll do that this weekend. I haven't done clickbait in a while. Let's do it. Talk about Tom Nash's bike. Oh, yeah, App Store, need a China phone. Yeah, it's, you know, I can't even get on the platforms over there. I don't know. You know what? Maybe I need to reach out. I need to get into my contact network and see if somebody can help me out and getting set up. Cutie says, I want to keep buying like 200 shares each month. So September is a good timeline for me until I accumulate baller status. Let's go. I've got the Chinese automakers for China. Yeah, I know. Smokin says, I think it will drop to 20 or below before. I do think with regard to price, I'll be watching IWM. I'll be watching the broader markets to see where the low for NIO will be. If it's in, not, I think even with the bounce at some point, broader market wise, that we haven't seen the low for the American side. I don't know if, depending on timing of news flow and things like the delisting, and really when big money is going to reinvest in China, because the stuff was beaten down so much that there are some, and that's one of the reasons we're seeing stuff move here in these last months. So we'll see. I think there's a lot more upside potential, but I don't know if the low's in necessarily. This thing on the, get that thing off my screen. I just noticed that. Where are we at? 2271. We are just back and forth, just playing around. Shenzhen. Keepa says average is 22.25. Ooh, it's outstanding. Shenzhen NIO does not hype itself. That's one of the reasons I'm long on it. But it's also one of the reasons that I think it's been hurt short term is they don't hype themselves. I'm okay with that. I understand the companies like that, and the guy running the company is looking at things that we are not seeing. I love that. Elon, we got a Mr. Overhype comment. Elon, look, the guy has monetized like no other off of social media. So I call him Mr. Overhype. I'm talking about Elon Musk, but he's profited like no other from it. It's incredible. Steven says, Aaron, the one thing that will send NIO shares flying is the China SEC deal that is currently in the last level negotiations. Folks don't realize how close this deal is. Yeah, I agree. I think that's, and that's why I'm saying with where timing of things like the US market, if it drops more, if that news comes out in the meantime, then it might not matter. You know, I don't have an expectation one way or the other for NIO. I mean, I'm fine buying it here. But I just add when I can anyway, because you already know I have that problem. TLM, too little money. It means I just can't buy whenever I want. Not like some of you ballers. What else? Math guy. Elon would know better about EVs and which companies are actually doing a good job, which ones are just a bluff. All the scams like Nikola and recalls are from US EVs. Well, yeah, I think you know, Elon has spoken highly of the Chinese market, and he's definitely seen some of the things they're doing. I mean, look, China and the Chinese companies benefited so much from bringing Tesla over. It was a really smart move on their part. And Sandy Monroe being over there for years and seeing what they're doing and then saying, hey, US is going to get their butt kicked when these, you know, companies come over with their vehicles. I just think, you know, and this is another point that I don't know how many people are recognizing, but there's already a shift that's taking place, whether people like it or not. China is already making its play. And just one name tells you, TikTok. I mean, in 10 years, how many of the people who are on TikTok all the time right now are not going to care whether the vehicle was made in China or not? That's the direction we're going. That's what I think. So NIO Life is huge. It's a hugely underrated. I think so too. And again, Marcel, shout out to him. You know, he's on point with this stuff. I think he's low key sometimes and people miss it. They don't understand some of the things he's saying are major. They're big time. Roman, what's up? Welcome. I believe in the next 5 to 7 years, we will see more and more articles about NIO batteries degrading much slower than the competition because of battery swapping, way less supercharging. That's a good point. And again, it's one of those things where it's kind of like the power swapping and the battery swapping. There's a lot we don't know. But for me and for my confidence in NIO, once I knew they had the policy support for providing part of the grid and doing the battery swapping, I was just kind of like, boom, that's all I want to know. Because that means they were sort of solidified in my mind in that huge, huge market. And so if they go into Europe and do well, bonus. If they come to the US and do well, bonus. But, you know, they had that sort of, you know, signed off on in my mind. I think it was 2020 when that came out, that policy. Asian Fish says, I am not a NIO fanboy. NIO fan superboy. Super fanboy, let's go. Jeff says many coworkers have all invested, found out through conversation. So you are the man spreading the word. I just think it's such an interesting time, and I have no problem with people who don't want to invest for whatever reason. I don't care what the reason is. Yeah, nobody has to justify anything to me. But I definitely have my reasons, and it's more, you know, in line with the research, and then also the shift that I think we're going to see. And again, you know, no better, really simple way to put it than TikTok. Things are changing. They are changing in front of us if we're paying attention. But it's hard, you know, when you're immersed in everything, it's hard to see some of the things. And that's why I think it was crazy coming back to the world, seeing the changes, but then kind of going, wow, all right, things can really shift a lot. So what's coming next? And I hope, knock on wood, that I'm seeing it. Smoking, what's the source? Says, think China locked down 2 large cities today. I hadn't seen that they actually locked anything down. They were advising people to be cautious about going out in certain areas, but I hadn't seen them actually lock anything down. Doesn't mean they haven't. So yeah, let me know if there's a source or article, especially if it's Chinese based. I try to follow on Twitter. I follow CN Wire is one that I follow, where they're pretty good about putting that stuff out. if you get into who I follow, there's a lot of them are NIO people because I try and support NIO people also. But I try and keep my total number that I follow under 100 because there's already more data than I can process and get through. So, but I try to be there for the research, and CNWire is one that I follow for that. So let me know. Maybe there's a good source, somebody else I haven't found yet. Foxhound, what's up? And no one heard about NIO where I live, but everyone knows what Tesla is. That's part of the share price problem. Oh, well, the main thing is people seeing others driving one. Yeah, you're absolutely, and again, I don't mind when people are bullish on Tesla at these prices, these levels, whatever. They're buying a mature company, a profitable company. And so for me, my view is a little different. I'm thinking, well, the money I could use for that, I'd rather put into something where I think it can grow more. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think there's a better leverage play off of my dollars doing it that way. And since I have that, little money problem, then, I'm just trying to, it's baby steps to $18. Cutie Pie says, Asian fish, you should be a NIO fan, super fish. That's funny. Jade says, when we hit 80, all invited to my New Hampton house. Let's go. Cutie Pie. If NIO hits 100, then we should all meet up. I know people have been talking about a meetup at 100. I don't know. It depends on what my situation is at that point. I'm trying to get my life together over here, People being, I know some people are serious up in here. I know y'all go hard. Based in the UK, what's up? And jumped on NIO at $6. Let's go. That's when I found it, but I hadn't done my research yet. It took me a little bit to get my research in. Invested ever since, but feel a little jumpy now. Most people here don't know about NIO. That's what I want to know. I want to know that NIO is still largely unheard of in markets they're going into, because as soon as those cars get seen, that's going to be fun to track and watch. And, it was good to see Sandy Monroe's take on the ES8. It wasn't even one of the newest platforms, newest everything, but he was still so impressed. That was really nice to see that he felt and compared it to really the competitors that NIO is trying to be in that space and take market share from. And that's, BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. What's up, Finland? Greetings from Finland. I came back here after being overseas for over 3 years, and the amount of EVs on the road has gone through the roof while I've been away. EVs are the future. Cool. Love it. And I love the firsthand accounts and kind of the, the market research, again, direction and seeing what's coming. Transition's already taking place. I understand that here in the US, it's going to take longer. We're a little slower. We don't have the options, but that's also why I think, as Sandy Monroe said, when the Chinese automakers come here, and by the way, you think it doesn't matter that BYD with Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger isn't going to be able to make a play and come over here and have an impact? I think they will, if they want to do that. But I think they're already pushing to get into some other continents as well. So, it's still early. It's just still early, I think. Asian Fish, welcome to NIO dating. Playing matchmaker over here. Smoking says, I'm looking now. Cutie Pie cracking up. Oh, man, y'all are, what a trip. I love it. Math Guy says, Ford already admitted it is going to sell a Mustang Mach-E at a loss for the sake of showing it as selling cars. Traditional automakers are in a terrible position. That's your no future, no economy. Math Guy, I think that's and I saw that they had a recall too on some of their Mach-E's. I do think it would be really interesting, and I would be bullish on a Ford NIO partnership where if Ford sponsors and helps with the factory, where NIO has the parts come over and they, put basically the sort of pre-assembled vehicles together here and then sell them here. Boy, that's a play that could really benefit both companies. I'm not saying, look, I have no news that this is going to happen, but I would like to see it. That would be fun. It would help both companies, I think. Satoshi says, price is just being held down by FUD and insider trading. Don't think the SEC isn't influenced by money. Long-term, none of these matters. And that's my view, especially on the long-term. Short-term, big money can pretty much do what it wants with the market. But long-term is where, if you're right, you can kind of pick your positioning. And my biggest miss or mistake that I had was I thought people were doing the same research I was doing. And so when NIO started to run price-wise, I was like, oh no, I'm going to get priced out. It's going to keep going. And of course, here we are. And got an opportunity to, increase my position. Let's go. Is it a Seth sighting? Let me pin this thing. Hold on. What's up, Seth? Man, golfing out there, just kicking it, hanging out. I'm trying to hold it up, man. I'm trying to keep it together over here. Hope NIO closes better than I did on the course. Oh, no. Oh, what's up for everyone? Sorry I couldn't make it. Man, they missed you. Everybody misses you, Seth. It's not the same without you, man. I'm crying inside a little bit. I'm trying to keep a brave face on and not let them see the tears. No, it's good though. Doing the family thing, man. That's awesome. Priority. Enjoy it. I hope you're having a great day. Bruhali, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, so I'm sorry. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bruhali. I saw a clip where the fifth gear crew drove NIO in Norway and they praised the product and the battery swap. Yes, I think they've done a couple of videos on NIO on the fifth gear channel. And yeah, I think it was all positive. And that's kind of been the recurring theme. Again, if it's one thing for another content creator to kind of talk bad about NIO or whatever, it's a little different if somebody who's actually in the vehicle is saying, oh, this is a problem, this is cheap, this is whatever. I haven't seen that. Again, really happy that I saw Sandy Monroe give kind of the a report, I guess, that he did on it. I'm really happy. Edward C. Seth here. Man, Foxhound, proud bag holder. I know I had to make a joke about that. It's funny that there are these terms. It's kind of like dip buying. People are like, oh yeah, buy the dip. And I'm like, well, it's a bear market. So, and of course with NIO, we learned there's the dip and there's the dip of the dip of the dip of the dip. And so like the thing is, if your lens and view is long-term, then you're accumulating. And so whatever term you want to use, bag holder, sure. I mean, but if you're long-term, then that's what it is for me. Jacob says, get her number here. Cutie Pie says, hi, Seth, waiting to see your videos. Some updates on Mullen. Let's go, Seth. You got requests, bud. I'll text him later too to make sure he knows. We need Mullen content, Seth. Yeah, I forgot to tease him last week about that. We were going to be like 1 and then 3 and then, or 3 and then 5 and then moon. Yeah, that's what it was. But you know what? I was hoping for and wondering if we would see NIO to the $25 level. I know some people are still probably waiting for it to go to $8 or $10, but let's see. Adrian, what's up? Says no price prediction in a decade. I will give a price prediction in this decade. No, I'm kidding. I think you want one for in a decade. I think I don't know. I already said 500 in 2025, and I really don't want to. Maybe that slides out. It depends though, because there are a lot of factors we don't know. And for example, if market is bullish or bearish, makes a difference. If NIO's profitable, if they've done a buyback, if they choose to do, there are a lot of different things that they could do that they might do by that point. And so I really don't want to, things are in flux. There's so much going on. It's so hard to even keep track of. I remember back in 2020, think about this. 2020 is when they got policy support from China to do battery swapping stations and provide part of the grid. And they've got over 1,000 battery swap stations in China. And it looks like, fun fact, and Asian Fish helped me with this, shout out for assisting with this. It looks like they have already been at least messing with the idea of getting approval for battery swap stations in the US. And we'll leave it at that. But they're already doing it in Europe. And the Hungary play for a power swap production plant makes a lot of sense. In fact, Novak Capitalist is one of the channels I watch sometimes, and he was talking about Hungary being very competitive on the tax side for companies. And I thought, oh, that's a William Lee play right there. That's a Mr. EQ play, figuring out where it was most cost effective to set up shop and do things from. Now, I'm sure that's not the only reason, but I've noticed that about him. He is dude's low key brilliant, and I love the low key part because it's keeping them flying under the radar for now. So we got cheering. If NIO gets to 500, I will be worth $4 million. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, heck, I hope it goes past that. I saw somebody had and maybe this will be another Team NIO video. Somebody did one, Finance with Ray J, and I didn't actually get into the video, but I haven't seen his videos. I said something about 700 in 2025, and I'm like, all right, let me see what he's got to say. PCA Taff, what's up? PCA will be an SEC stuff, and a buyback of shares would send. Yeah. I just think, it's funny. All the times we've seen NIO push down, even with positive things. They're building, they're getting bigger, they're positioning, they're doing a lot of stuff, and they've been pushed down. But again, even not being profitable, they went to almost $67. This thing can run. And so whenever it's time, it's going to be fun to do. And Asian Fish with the closing update, 22.62 for NIO to close the day. Robert says if NIO gets to 500, lucky if it gets back to 50. Oh, it hurts in here, Robert. Don't doubt like that. No, I'm just kidding. It's all good. If I understand people who have been feeling beaten down for a while. I get it. And let's see what happens. Once again, I think short term, let's watch numbers delivery wise and see what stock price does, corresponding to that. And then let's watch for the delisting news and then see where the broader markets go and then go from there. What's up, Nate? Says that work. Just wanted to show a run and chat some love. Oh, that's cool. I love the community and it's fun to be a part of it. It's cool to be able to do this. And I appreciate y'all. And Foxhound, nice close. Hopefully next week we get past that stupid 24. I'm just kind of like watching and waiting and wondering, are we going to break out? When are we going to break out? Is the overall market going to tank? Is it going to, drag NIO down more? I don't know. Yeah, it was over 23 in the morning. But again, there's so much we can't see. We can't track what's going on in dark pools. And it's all what we see is almost always delayed based on what big money's doing. And, what's IWM doing? Is it trading with that or is it not? I didn't even look at trade volume today. It was probably low. It's kind of we've had that. But Asian Fish, take what we can one step at a time. That's right. Baby steps to greatness. You already know. Cutie Pie says, I hope NIO will make you rich and happy someday. Yeah. See, that's the cool thing. I've already got it made. I'm already good. Like, I'm happy. The money part, I'm just waiting on that. Not waiting on it. I'm trying to be proactive, but it'll come in. But the happiness, we're good on that. So Asian Fish, yep. Probably, I'd say it was a good Friday. Good day for Friday. Terry, what's up? T. Haven't watched in a while. There's not much to do but wait. Yeah, you're right. Long term, especially with this market, until we see a big uptick in deliveries. We get that delisting news, money flow goes back into Chinese stocks, companies, and maybe September, maybe with ET5 and ES7. Although they've said it's going to be a slow ramp up, we'll see what that looks like. Curious what ET7 numbers will be doing by then. Double shift should be going. Asian Fish, to be honest, I think NIO will start to move up after September. September seems to be when people are thinking NIO is really going to move. And it could be. It definitely could be. Remember last year, I wanted to see NIO do 6 months to end the year with 10,000 plus deliveries, and that just never materialized. And they actually haven't done that 6 months in a row. So that consistency, which we should see, as long as there aren't, knock on wood, shutdowns in China, we should see that for 7 months here to end the year. And let's see what happens if that's the case. Asian Fish, no, I already did that. Satoshi, when will NIO Park be finished? Demand is there. It's just supply chain issues. If NIO starts making 100,000 cars, probably to 400 quickly. Yeah, NIO Park comes online late August, early September. And that's where those 2 newest models are going to be delivered from. So yeah, second sedan. The first sedan has barely been out, and they're still ramping up. So yeah, it's still really early, I think. T-Dan, what's up? How are you? Good. Living the dream. Living the YouTube dream. Jade says, I hope we see 14,000 this month. Yeah, I would really like, if we don't have shutdowns, I would really like to see 15,000. I think I'm going to put that as kind of my goal to see NIO. If they do the double shifts, if they, so what do they have? I think 50, they were over 5,000 on ES6s last month, and then over 4,000 for ET7s. I think those are the two big models. So if they hadn't gone to full on double shifts and they do in July, then yeah, we should see those kinds of numbers. So good stuff. What are y'all thinking? Should we wrap it? Should we call it? I know it's not the same without Seth. Seth out there golfing, probably getting his tan on and everything. See if he's darker next week when he gets here. I think we're going to wrap it. And no worries. I wanted to do a NIO power video, but I feel like I'm out of the loop. You know, I couldn't watch it. And I know CNV Post does a great job with their articles and updates and stuff, but I just feel like I'm behind on that, and I'd like to get, you know, more to share. So I'll come up with something for the weekend though. Don't worry. Asian Fish, ET750, 500 for July. Definitely could be. What, they went from 1,700 to 40 some. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be fun. It definitely looks like there are a lot of those floating around out there in places. Smoking, what's up? Have a great weekend. Appreciate you. Buhali, same. Appreciate you. NIO 1220. What do you think about the 10,000 LiDARs? Was it 100,000? That's one of the NIO capital investments, right? So even the ones that aren't being produced for NIO still is basically got an interest in, right? I think I would have to double check on that. But I think, and I haven't done a comparison, and I'm kind of waiting and hoping Marcel will do one, a comparison between the Tesla and NIO and what they've got going on with Tesla's FSD versus NIO's NAD when it comes out. I want to see that. But the screen sure looks better from the little bit that I've seen on NIO's side. I don't know, you know, let's see. I want to see the product. But I think NIO Park, NIO Capital, there are other quiet plays that NIO has an interest in positioning in that actually extend beyond what a lot of people are seeing, kind of like the energy. You know, it's hard to evaluate something that we really can't recognize or understand or have all the data points on. But concept is a big thing for me. And so I'm excited to see what that all translates into down the road. But now I'm curious. I'm going to look up NIO Capital in Innovusion because I did see that. And I think the Chinese, they were doing robotaxis over there the last couple of years, they were already doing stuff. There are a number of companies, and they were smart. NIO had that partnership with Mobileye. I think they are well placed and positioned in that. We'll see. T-Dan says, what's your average NIO price? I'm in the, I think, high 20s probably. I'm looking to bring it down, baby steps. But I also don't have a big position. You know, my long-term goal is 2,000. So I got a long way to go. Hope it's not a new bottleneck. I don't think so. I think a lot of that is kind of handled, and as long as there aren't shutdowns in China, I think that's the biggest short-term concern for NIO. So that's just me though. Nikos, what's up? Some shocking news from my friend Tom. Yeah, I'm waiting for something like that, Nikos. I'm not worried about it. You're right. You're not wrong. But in the point that I made was relative to that was we have stocks, right? But we don't have the stock certificates in our possession. We don't have the physical, but we trust that we have the stocks. So we do, right? People don't, there's a lot of trust that we put into things in the systems and such. And just because we don't think about it doesn't mean there's not risk. There is, GameStop, they took away the buy button. Who knew, right? It's crazy. It's crazy, but that's the world we live in. And, investing, you can't eliminate risk. You can minimize it. And that's what I try to do with my research. And with time, we'll see if I was right. TDM 38, are you getting it down? Or is that the goal? Or are you just riding it out or what? For me, it's just adding when I can. And I had already decided I was going to keep buying until I get to my goal. So long way to go, but it's all good. Asian Fish to see what Tesla, you can't ask your broker to give you a stock certificate. Exactly. And that's kind of my point. We trust the system. The same deal with the banking system, with I learned the legal system. We trust that it operates a certain way, and whether it does or not is a whole other thing. But there's risk in anything. Sean says, trying to get my average down under 30, sitting on 820 shares at 30.51. Okay, I see you. Well, that's one thing. Like I said, this kind of extended period with these prices has given me a chance to improve. And so I've been able to bring things down a little bit price-wise, and I'm hoping to get there. But, it's a long-term play, and I do think at some point we see it take off, but sort of the bear market in the background, I think, has given, not just with NIO, but with a lot of things, opportunity to buy the companies that you believe in and kind of position or improve your position based on, where you are. So I want us to win. Let's go. I think I'm going to wrap it up, but I want to say thank you to everyone for stopping through. I appreciate it. It's always fun. And it's so much more. You could tell I wasn't quite as energetic without Seth here and without an energy drink in hand, right? But next week we'll run it back. Hopefully Seth will be here. And I know people will be having a good time just hanging out with us and kicking it. Thanks, and everybody have a great weekend. I'll get something out over the weekend. But I'm going to do a little digging and maybe have a little fun with something. Satoshi says, I'm down 75%. This is nothing looking long-term. T-Dan, appreciate you. Asian Fish, till next time. Ron, same time, same NIO channel next Friday. It's NIO fanboys and girls and spicies. Let's go. See y'all. Thanks for stopping by. You already know the drill. If you're on this NIO train with me, get your seatbelts fastened because you already know long-term. We're absolutely going for a ride on this thing. Thanks, and we'll see y'all again